Hey there, and welcome to episode 15 of the Just One More Project Bag podcast. I'm Dana of Unwind.
And I'm Tiffany Tiffany Bag, right? Tiffany the Project Bag. Okay, any indication as to how this thing's going to go today?
Thanks, fantastic. I can already tell.
Right. Woo! All right, so it's almost April, so yeah, it's not like it's our first time doing this, but thank you for doing that anyway.
Yeah, thanks for putting up with our crazy. So I am unwindoriginals.com, and I will be transitioning my shop off of Etsy within the next week or two. So if you go to that link, it will always take you to my current shop front. And then Color Street Now Polish Strips at the link in the show notes, since that goes directly to Tiffany's affiliate link, so she gets credit for your order. And then Tiffany's project bags are at theprojectbag.etsy.com. So it is almost April, like we are moments away, almost a couple of days.
Yeah.
March is fired. Hardcore. I'm over it. We'll get into that. But so yeah, I guess we'll just jump straight into underway because Tiffany's on a deadline today. We got to get her out of here. So.
Yeah, in fact, my mom just called me. I'm just double checking that she doesn't need anything important. We've got a conference call with the nursing home, which we'll talk about later. I'm sure it's probably not anything too important.
Well, I guess I'll start while you finish checking up on that. So I'm still working on my mother's birthday blanket. These squares are taking a lot longer than I thought they would. This is square number 7. So here is what I have so far. This is, I think, one more row, and then I'll be at the turning point and go back the other direction. So my squares have worked out to be 11 and a half inches square. That's without blocking. So I think I could easily get them to 12 inches with blocking. I'm just using up the tiniest little scrap balls. I'm just magic knotting things together. I'm holding my yarn doubled. So, and then I'm just making the squares, and I'll connect them later. I'll pick a color that I like, or maybe even use undyed yarn and crochet all my squares together, and that'll be for her birthday this year. So that's exciting. And then I have been also working on that what to do with leftovers blanket. I had a very generous friend send me some DK weight scraps. So I was able to keep going because I'm out of DK weight scraps at this point, out of my own stash, unless I make something else out of DK. So anybody else wants to contribute to the cause, superwash DK scraps, I'll happily take them. Because I got a long way to go before this blanket's done, like a really long way. So yeah. So go ahead and talk a little bit, because I got.
Well, I only have one thing, and it's super boring, but it is what it is. This is the state of mind I'm in right now. One of my squares for Crafty Bingo is to make 3 dishcloths. And my aunt really, really loves knitted dishcloths. So her birthday's coming up. So I cast on the first one, and that's not reading true to color at all, but it's purple. It's colorway. It's sugar and cream, and it's called Grape. But the pattern is Chinese Waves dishcloth. It's free on Ravelry, and super easy slip stitch pattern, but I think it'll make a really good dishcloth.
Yeah, it's got like the kind of texture I use in store-bought dishcloths. So.
Yes. So just moving and cruising on that, and I probably should have enough maybe to make a second one.
Probably, yeah. Those balls are pretty generous. Yes, the size of the sugar and cream balls.
Well, and I had bought a 6-pack of this yarn on Amazon because when I thought I was going to be teaching people how to knit with the local stitch group.
Mm-hmm.
So I've still got plenty of that. So I think maybe my next one, I'll probably just do the grandmother's favorite.
Yeah.
Or, something along those lines.
Just always remember there was a book that I read, and they talked about dishcloths, and they talked about how one of the nicest things about them is you use them for a certain amount of time, and then they start deteriorating. So you have an excuse to make new ones.
Yeah, right.
And the possibilities for patterning on dishcloths are kind of endless. So that's
when
fun.
I first started knitting, that was one of the first booklets I bought was just different dishcloth patterns. And in fact, I believe I still have it. And I think there was one that was dedicated just to hearts, like putting heart patterns in dishcloth.
It would be really fun to like make up a whole stable of those for Christmas gifts, like work on them for a long time, like over the course of a couple of years, do 1 or 2 a month and work your way through those booklets, because that would be pretty fun. And you get to try lots of different stitch patterns. I mean, sounds like a good time to me. Okay, so I'm doing the second test of my mitts, because you all saw the first mitt last time. I'll be honest, I cast this on Saturday. I've not had any knitting mojo at all month, so I will explain a little bit more about that later. But if I can figure out how to untangle it here so that I can put it on my hand, would be super useful.
Well, it looks like you're zooming on that.
I am. It's a really fast pattern, even if I do say so myself. It's nice and it's fast, and it's got knitting it out of self-striping is a huge part of it, just because you're getting like the entertainment value of it changing. Now, I will say that this is mill ends from Mustache, and the stripes are real irregular in size. So I kind of was like, well, where do I start the thumb? So I started the thumb at the base of the green. So I had roughly the same amount of arm as I did on the original. So as you can see, I'm just a little bit past where I took the thumb off. So now this will be done by the end of today. Like, this doesn't take very long to make. So yeah, I'm happy with it. So this yarn is Mustache in Bad Guys is the name of it. And then I have a cuff yarn that I found that was just a mini from my stash. And I thought that it looked kind of like this. So it's just a little bit darker. So, but I thought it turned out pretty. So, yep. So that's that. As soon as I get this one done, I'm going to go ahead and just write it up quickly in Word, and I'll be sending it out to the people who said they wanted to test. So I meant to have it done way before now, but like I said, I have absolutely no mojo right now, and I'm having to make myself do just about anything crafty. So yeah. Then I started a shawl. This was my birthday cast on, and it was right before the wheels came off the month. And I'm totally going to butcher this name. Sorry, Mary, in advance. Chika. It's a Russian name. Yeah, you can really see that pattern. Wow, with that light behind it, you can really see that patterning coming out. So this is a one skein shawl. This is from Mary Kino Knits, and the yarn I'm using is kind of busy, and that is really not reading true in any way of what it should be. But it's this is Dreaming Colored Jilly, and it's got silk. And we got this when, I think this was 2019 into the wool. We went to the yarn patch. It was before they moved. We went to the yarn patch on our way in with Katrina, and this is the skein I bought. That's a little more accurate back here. It's teal, and it's got speckles and purple and white. So
it's pretty.
It's going to be extremely busy, but that's okay. I think it'll look fine. I went through and looked at other people's, and they said, there are several people that use variegated, and it turned out okay. And then last but not least, I started the Hamilton cross stitch. Can I get it out of this bag? Is the question.
You've been sending me fun texts of like giant T's.
Random letters. Yeah, it's just like a random giant T. And I was like, hey, look. Well, at one point it said, I am the one T.
Right.
So this is the quote from Hamilton from Wait For It, Aaron Burr's main solo song in Hamilton. And it says, I'm the one thing in life I can control. I am an inimitable. I'm an original. And this is, as you can tell, this is just only a little bit of it. So this one is going to be very large. It's going to be a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be looking at the picture. Of course, if I looked at the box count on the pattern, I would have known, but but I have plenty. This is an entire thing of Ada, like one whole tube of Ada cloth.
Wow.
It's going to be a big one, but anyway, I'm really happy with it. I'm about to drop my needle. I'm really happy with it. It's a really pretty ocean blue. And that's the only color on the whole thing, is whatever color you choose to stitch the letters. And it's an absolute mess on the back because I haven't woven in any of my ends yet. I'm going to wait until the very end to do it all at one time. But
There you go.
so that's getting worked on a little bit here and there. I'll do a couple letters a week. So I'm not in any hurry on it, to be honest.
Well,
So,
and remind me again, was it an Etsy designer?
yeah, it's an Etsy designer. I can't remember the name of the pattern. I think I linked it in last time's show.
Right.
I think I did at least. But I'm pleased with it. I think it's really awesome. So, and that's like the song from that movie that like catches me in the heart the most. So, yeah. Yes. So I'm excited about getting that going because I have like 3 or 4 squares on my crafty bingo about finish a needlework project or cross stitch project. And I'm like, would help if I worked on one.
Well, there's always that.
There's that.
You got to be in the right mind space or, have the
Yeah.
desire.
And like have the right light in the room. Like that's a big thing to me is like if the light's too dim and I feel like I'm straining even with a light source, which I have a little clip lamp that I use, but if it's already dim, I don't like cross stitching at night at all. I knit at night because I don't have to look at it. But with cross stitch, I feel like I need to.
Yeah.
Very much. Got to count. All right. Well, that's it for me as far as what's currently getting worked on. I'm just kind of bouncing around in there, all in those whips when I feel like working on anything, which has not been often. So.
Well, and I find like I've found in the last month or so, I started playing. I don't know if I talked about this on the podcast, but I started playing June's Journey. And I played on my Kindle. It's a hidden object game that's got a storyline and everything. It's for me, it's just really addictive. And so a lot of times instead of knitting, I'm playing a game. The good
I do
news
that with
is
Best Fiends. They need to sponsor us because I seriously do play that game. So
I used to play that one also, but I had to take it off my iPod because I was running out of room, for my podcast with the game. But it's the same, it's exactly the same thing. The good news about those is that they kind of force a time limit though, because with June's Journey, when I'm out of energy, then I have to quit it. And
that's the problem with Best Fiends is you don't ever, well, you kind of do run out of energy, but it gives you this little spinny wheel that you're allowed to spin once every 10 minutes. And it almost always on the first spin fills your energy back up. So it's like, I don't think I've ever actually run out of energy on that game, like for real, and not been able to play. So kind of dangerous.
But yeah, that's kind of where, some of my time that I could have been knitting.
Well, and sometimes I do not remember buying this. Sorry, I'm sitting here labeling. I don't think I bought this. I think this somehow ended up in my bag.
Maybe it was attached to something else when you
probably was, but it's like silk DMC.
Oh.
Like I didn't buy that anyway. Okay, that's kind of crazy. That can explain why. I mean, I bet that was probably a lot more expensive than the floss I bought.
It definitely wanted to come home with you.
Yeah, I must have. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but we'll figure something out. All right. So concluded, I only have one thing and it is not up here because it's in use in my kitchen. I finally finished that little dishcloth, that at your service dishcloth that had the tab with the button. Once I sat down and was like, hey, I want to finish this because it had been up here in my office and it was like crammed back behind something. So I wasn't really paying attention to the fact that it was there. So it was on the needles for far too long, simply for that reason alone. But I did finish it and it's been in use and my husband loves it because you can use it and it won't come flying off the handle of the stove of the oven door. So he loves that. He's a fan. But yeah, so that's the only thing I finished other than like a whole bunch of squares for the blankets. But, since that's not an actual FO, I'm not counting that.
Well, this really surprises because I didn't think that, like I said, it didn't feel like I'd been knitting that much. But one of the things was a hat for her birthday. It was the Tentacula. I came across this just on a pattern search. It was only released in November, and it is made with Malabrigo worsted, which is a superwash version of their worsted. Or right? Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thinking I was speaking out of turn. And the colorway was Indonesia.
And this color is not showing up. It's like it is a straight up peacock, and this is not. It's graying out on the screen for some reason, but Anyway, she sent me the leftovers too. So this was
Yeah, I thought maybe.
birthday.
Yeah.
But look at that stitch pattern, y'all. I'm obsessed. It looks like braided hair.
Well, the way that it's written, you can do it one color or two color, and you can make those slip stitches a solid. And
I
I
have
think,
gone through and put so many of her patterns in my cart now. Like,
yes.
oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was just I think it was probably one of those when it was first released that I came across it because it was probably at the Hot Right Now or something like that.
Mhm.
Or most recently released or something like that, because that tends to be what I.
It's one of the coolest hat patterns I've ever seen. And going through and looking at her other ones, like she's really talented.
Yes, I thought the same.
I want her to get into sweaters. Like she needs to get into sweaters.
And it seems like most of them are Harry Potter themed or, inspired by.
Almost all of them are.
Yes.
There, some of them are obscure references, but it's still a Harry Potter reference.
It's she's wanded knits, I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I saw that made sense.
And she has a deal if you buy 3 patterns, you get a discount, I think, something like that. There's some sort of quantity or minimum purchase discount or something on Ravelry if you like her designs. But yeah, you can click through Tiffany's project page and it'll take you to the page.
Yeah.
I love it. I would try it on, but like this would look like crazy person hair after I took it off. So.
And when I bought that skein for Dana, I also bought a skein for myself, knowing that, I wanted to make, but mine are like probably, these are closer Dana colors than the ones I got. I don't remember the colorway, but it's more, dark, moody, like,
yeah,
more. So like I said, it's a little slow going. The right hand leaning is not too bad, but the left hand required a little bit more.
How hard did you have to block this?
Did I block it at all? I guess I'm sure I did. I think I steam blocked it. I didn't.
Okay. As I was saying, because it looks like you had to block the tar out of it just because of those floats. Or the elongated ones.
If I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure I just steam blocked it. I know I didn't wet block it.
Your tension is just incredible. If you didn't have to actually block this for real, like I bowed down, dude.
Thanks. Well, when you see this,
look how good her. Okay, let's see if we can get it over here.
You might.
Look how good her stitch definition is. Not fair.
Well,
I've been knitting longer than you.
I think. Well, and also I'm really a tight knitter. Like I'm a tight control freak on my knitting. So it is.
I used to be
surprising.
I'm not now. It's weird. I really was for a long time, and now I'm like usually like on par with whatever the middle needle size is that somebody requires.
Yeah, I did used to have to go up a needle size, and the same. I've found that now I generally stick with whatever size they recommend.
That's cool. Maybe we're not such control freaks in our old age.
Yeah, I've loosened up a little bit, maybe. I don't know. I'm just such an angry little woman, as Michael calls me all the time. He tells me all the time, he's like, "You really are an angry little woman, aren't you?" And I'm like, most of the time, yes, I am. But
don't test me.
So my second finish was also a gift for Lizzie, my son's fiance, for her birthday. And these are leg warmers, but I will put them on my arm here. The color is Bordeaux.
I mean, you don't want to jack your leg up like right in front of your face right here.
If I wasn't afraid of falling out of this here situation I've got going on, maybe. But the colorway is Bordeaux. And it is from Knit Picks. It's their Swish DK. I made her a sweater out of this last year for her birthday, and so I had the leftovers. It took 100 grams to make, but the pattern
they're like intense then, like real thick.
Yeah, I think it's on my pattern page, but I want to say they were made with a 7.
Okay.
So each one was used 50 grams, which is how the put up is of the Swish. So I think the pattern called for you to do 9 inches. I don't remember what I measured this as, but I think I did 65 total rounds of the leg. And Mockingbird Knits is the designer, and it's free, a free pattern on Ravelry.
They remind me of the Irish hiking scarf and the Irish hiking mitts.
You're right.
Hiking
Yeah.
warmers. They look like that because I made those quite a few times when I first started knitting.
So this is this checks off a box, the square.
Cool.
I didn't know I'd be making them for someone else, but that doesn't matter. And it also has it written where you can make them boot toppers as well.
Cool.
So, and then my very last one is one I just finished last night, and this is the Wonder Wander hat by Just Run It, Megan Williams, and this is my entry for our knit along. Well, the tension on this one, it's probably not showing up too well, is a little bit less because the green is a lighter weight than the white.
Okay.
But I mean, it's okay.
Well, but the white pops, and that really is what you want anyway, because the white is the motif color. Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah. But the only thing is I made a note and I love the crown decreases on this.
Yeah, they're pretty.
I made a note to myself that when I make this again, I'm going to make the brim a little less long because I shortened the length that I think she calls for this size to be 3 chart repeats and then a half a chart repeat. And I just did 2.5, and it's still pretty tall for my head.
Yeah, that's a big hat
because it calls for a, I think 2-inch brim. So if I did it again, I might just do, a much smaller brim.
You could even do like a rolled brim just in the contrast.
You're right. Cause I was thinking that too. Couldn't I just maybe just roll right into the patterning? And
you could do like a turned hem or an I-cord cast on where you get an I-cord and then pick up from that to knit the hat. That'd be kind of pretty.
I could still do that with this one and just, wear it folded in. But I think this might be the first time I've made a colorwork hat for myself. And I really like, how squishy it is. It's going to be
make so many, you've made so many pretty ones. That's so funny. You don't have any.
I give them all away. So anyway, that was fun.
I have some favorites that I wear a lot, and then I have some that I don't wear as often.
Yeah, you're right. The one that I made from the Lake Francis Sunrise, I tend to wear that one most often.
I know that was like your uniform hat for when we would vend.
Yes, yeah.
You would wear that, and you'd wear the posy shawl, and you'd wear something else.
Yes. Now my shawl choice has become the one that I wear that was made with the teal timber, and I think it was side pony was the contrast.
Yeah, that's the one you brought to the retreat in 2021.
Yeah, I wear that one a lot now.
That's a good one.
But hopefully after today I won't need no more stinking hand knits until the fall.
Please. Well, we have at least 2 more cold snaps, so sorry about your bud.
Yeah.
Sorry. We're not having one, and you and I are usually at the exact same weather, and we are 20-something degrees warmer than you today. So
right now,
intense.
My watch is still saying it's only 38 out there right now. That's nuts.
I don't know what it is. Let me look at mine.
But in 2 days, it's supposed to be 71, 72. So
I forgot mine's called AccuWeather, so it's going to be at the top. Let's see what it says. It's 65, real feel of 74.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's sunny here. It's not,
very warm. All right. So I just had an epiphany. Are you ready for this?
Okay.
Sitting here and I was like, wait a minute. Okay. So I've been like, I don't know what I want to make for a hat thing. And I just keep looking, and I'm not really happy with anything. Is it not perfect?
It is perfect. Yep.
It's perfect. So I think this is going to be a new
hints of spring, or what's the color?
This is succulents.
Okay.
This is one of the ones that didn't sell. So this is my old holiday worsted base. So this one is the one that's alpaca merino and glitz. So it's sparkly. So anyway, this is going to be my hat. I'm just going to make this. This will be great.
Didn't you say that you had picked out a pattern or not?
I had one picked out, but it was fingering weight, and I didn't have any yarn that would work for it. So I was going to have to order some, and I've been hemming and hawing about that because I'm trying not to order things right now. I've got so many beautiful yarns, and I'm trying to this is the year of using up scraps. So I'm trying to use up my scraps and, take care of business here, and ordering more yarn in to make a pattern when I already have yarn that will work for other patterns seems a little
I
silly
know.
right now.
Yeah, I can see that.
Oh, well. All right. So the only thing I 100% have incoming that I'm going to be starting like probably today is the Under the Sea stitch along that's from Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. This one is new this year and it just started like, I don't know, a few days ago. So like a couple of people already posted their first little motif for the month. But I had to end up ordering my linen from someone else because they sold out so fast. Like they sold out in 2 hours of all their kits.
Oh, dang.
And so I wanted to go ahead and get my linen. So it's like a really pretty blue gray. It's a little more blue than gray, but it's a hand dyed. It's from Picture This Plus, which is who they use, Frosted Pumpkin uses. And I didn't realize this because I've never looked to get it from anybody but them because I've usually been able to get the kit when I wanted it. Yeah, this time I didn't. But Picture This Plus does not sell direct to consumer. They only sell wholesale. So I had to find someone else with that color in that could get it to me. Because they're super backed up because they've had trouble getting the cloth, just like everybody else is having trouble getting stuff in right now. They've had trouble getting the cloth. But the one thing I really love about, I mean, it's a beautiful color, is it's serged.
Oh, handy.
So you don't have to worry about doing that yourself. But it's a really pretty color.
It's going to look good with, I'm sure their design is going
the
to be
oceany colors. It's going to be
as
really cute. I mean, I'm excited about it. So that's going to be for Madeline's room eventually. The last clue, they send out a clue a month, and the last clue is not until December 22nd. So I don't know how good I will do with getting that done in that amount of time, but we'll find out.
Valentine.
Yeah, I mean, Valentine's Day, her birthday next year, because I'm going to get it professionally framed. So, because it's a big piece again. So, yeah, so I'm going to be starting out immediately, probably this afternoon. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I have hardcore planned that I'm definitely going to do.
And I don't have anything planned. I really have some whips that I would like to get back to and should get back to get them, I'd like to check off a few more boxes on my crafty bingo.
I feel like I was doing so good and then I wasn't.
Yes. Yeah, I noticed that about myself too. I was telling you that, one of my goals was the little mini advent socks. And if I'm going to be on track, I need to get back to those. So,
yeah. Yeah, because you're going to have to knit at least 2 a month in order to get them done for December.
Yes.
Some months you're going to have to knit 3. So,
yeah. So, I mean, good news is that I've got plenty of scraps and I've, the pattern is pretty easy and I know I haven't timed myself making them, but they don't take that long. It's just a matter of doing them. But, maybe that'll be my, my summertime focus.
Yes.
Because with me, once I get a goal in mind and once I start something, I'm kind of a dog with a bone and I've got to get it finished or else.
You are. And I admire that about you because I'm real gung ho in the beginning. And then I'm kind of like petering out because something else will take my attention. And I'm like, I'll come back to that later. And then I never do.
Yeah.
It never happens.
I have more whips right now than I usually do. So
yeah,
to see them finished, get them out of my way.
Be a good thing. Definitely. Well, I guess maker's moment. I've got a lot of cups made right now. I was supposed to have vended this past Saturday at an outdoor market that I've never vended before. And it's kind of a newer one. They've only been going for about a year and, vending fees incredibly cheap. And, sometimes that's enough to make you, even though you're going to get a lot of traffic, that's enough to make me hesitate to vend because that means that's that much more you have to sell in order to be able to make all your money back. And I don't know, I'd rather risk having slightly fewer people than to have a giant vendor fee. But anyway, it looked like it was going to be very well attended, but we had 35-mile-an-hour wind gusts that day. And we were in the process of setting me up, and I was getting more and more and more nervous because of the potential of things falling. And I was standing in front of the table, opening boxes of cups, and the wind picked my cups that were already on the thing off and threw them into my arms. And I said, "We're leaving." So it stinks because I worked on the stuff for this for like 6 weeks trying to get these cups done. And I have some incredibly beautiful artistic ones that I worked very hard on. And I was really looking forward to seeing people's in-person reactions, but it didn't work out. So I've got probably more cups than I usually do that will be going up in the shop, and I will be posting about the update. But like I said earlier, I'm going to be moving my shop off of Etsy, and I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail, but when I first started on Etsy, seller fees were 1.5% of the purchase price, the purchase amount that the buyer paid, plus a 20-cent listing fee that you pay when you make the listing. Now they have added on so many fees and so much, like they're nickel and diming you to death. And that before April 1st, so like stuff that's happening now, April 1st, it goes up to 6.5% per transaction, which is massive, when they're also charging you a fee on your shipping, a fee on the transaction, the selling price, all of that. Like, you added all that up. And last week I sold a $35 cup and I cleared $18. And that is like how much I cleared. So how much I had in it, I didn't even make $4 for my time. And it's significant amount of time to make a cup. So I just can't do it anymore. So even though it means that I'm going to end up losing natural traffic that I get through Etsy, I'm not going to be leaving my Etsy shop up, because I just don't think that they provide enough value for me to justify staying at this point. So I've owned the Unwind Originals domain for a while, and you'll be able to use that at any point and go to where my shop is currently being housed. So if you use it now and I haven't moved it yet, it's going to go to Etsy. I'll change the redirect once I'm set up on my new site. And I'm looking at Squarespace because I already use Square for inventory. It'll be really nice to have all of the reporting in one place and all that kind of stuff. So that's the plan. But in the meantime, I am going to do one last good size shop update on Etsy, and then I'll start transitioning stuff later, probably first or second week of the month. I don't want to like do it all abruptly. I want to kind of slowly move everything. So, but yeah, so that's coming.
That really does stink, because, it's supposed to be about the small businesses, and, you nickel and dime the small businesses and you force them, you force their hand.
And if you make over, I think it's $1,200 a month, if you do $1,200 a month in your shop on Etsy, they force you into Etsy advertising, and they charge you 12% of every item you sell for advertising. In addition to the regular fees, they're taking half of what you're charging, almost. When you add all the little percentages up, they're taking about half of whatever you mark your item at. So if you want to be competitive and you want to be able to still attract people to buy your product and not be completely priced out of the market, then you have to eat that. And that's not fair. And that's not what they started out as. Because I've been on Etsy since 2006, and they were about a small handmade marketplace. And now anybody can make a shop, and anybody can pretty much sell anything, because they've loosened their criteria so much on listings that they don't, like, people are on there selling junk and resold stuff and even fake stuff. Like Cherie Kirby Werby, a shop stole her listing photos and her listing words and was selling her yarn on their shop and stealing people's money. And there was her branding all over the pictures. So people were leaving her negative feedback and stuff on Ravelry and all this. And Etsy will not take that guy's shop down.
Wow.
They won't, even though he's got hundreds of negative feedback for stealing people's money, Etsy won't take his shop down. But somebody who uses the word pop socket in a listing or phone grip or whatever will get their shop taken down and have no recourse. So they're pandering to some groups and ignoring others. And I don't feel like they have sellers' best interests at heart anymore. And as someone who is selling their product on that site, I'd like to know that they would have my back if I fulfill all of my obligations as a seller and someone still chooses to leave me negative feedback. I want to know that they're actually going to have my back there, and they don't. So yeah, that was much longer than I anticipated talking about, but that is my reasoning for, that and other things are the reasoning I'm not going to be on Etsy anymore. But it makes me sad because it is natural traffic, and I do get new people through that. And I don't know that I'll get that somewhere else. So that really stinks. So I'm going to have to get better at personal branding and marketing. I hate social media. Really do. Anyway. All right. So in my ears, I'm finishing up a book today, hopefully, called The Widow by K.L. Slater. It's free on Audible through the 16th of April. And it's a fairly short book. It's about 7 hours on Audible. And it's a book about this lady who she seems to have like the perfect life and the perfect marriage. Like they have their struggles, but like overall, they're a happy family. And then her husband gets questioned, there's suspicion about whether or not he was involved in this person's disappearance, and he walks out in front of a truck and he dies, and she's left to pick up the pieces, and then all this stuff starts coming out about him, and she finds the phone of the missing woman in his toolbox and all this stuff. Like she's like, she knows somehow he's involved, or was he set up? And did he walk out in front of the truck because he knew that they were going to catch him because he'd done something, or was he pushed? Like it's really hard to tell. But the one thing I will say, I really enjoyed it, but coming off of what just has happened in my family lately, which I'll talk about later, there's a part where you're in his head as he's dying, and it's very disturbing. It's very evocative and terrifying, quite frankly. And then there's a part where she goes to the funeral home to say goodbye to him, and she has an absolute breakdown in there, and that was extremely difficult for me to listen to right now. But yeah, it's a good book. I've liked it a lot so far. So that's my current read, and my most recently finished read was Once Upon a River by Diane Setterfield. That book was slow as molasses in the beginning, but I really loved it at the end. It had a great ending. And it was kind of weird. Like it starts out like this lyrical story, and all these different stories are happening simultaneously. And at some point they're all going to touch. You just know it's going to happen that way. And like, then it starts getting kind of weird. And you're like, wait a minute, what is actually happening right now? Like, and it's kind of confusing. And then it all sews it up in a nice little package at the end. And it was a very good book. I enjoyed it very much.
Sounds like a ride.
But I love her writing in general. She wrote one of my probably top 5 of all time called The 13th Tale. That book is so good. Like that's one of the best books. And that's kind of her style. Like she starts out and it's kind of nonsense in the beginning. And you're like, how does all this even make a story? And then slowly she starts cinching the threads tighter and tighter. And you start seeing the whole picture. And then you think you know what's happening. And then at the end, you find out you never did. Right. I like a good book that keeps me engaged, like trying to figure out what's happening and all that. Like I like mysteries. So this is fun too. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've been reading. It's just those 2 things. I haven't read much lately either.
Well, I just got back into the Mrs. Jeffries series by Emily Brightwell. I had laid off of audiobooks for a bit just because I was listening to so many podcasts. So silly, but I had really forgotten what it was like to get lost in a story. So, these books are not very long either. They're, I think, between 8 and 10 hours. And they're cozy mysteries set in the late 1800s in England, in London. So, that's it's kind of where I live. And right now I'm in book 21. And Yeah, I wasn't gonna. I was finished the first one, and I was like, okay, well, then I'll go back to podcasts. But something happened at the end of that one, and I said, I have to see what happens next. So, the good news is that I looked ahead, and there's still so many more to come. I don't know exactly how many are left in the series, but it's a good number, and the author is still continuing to publish, and
Excellent.
she's in her early 70s. So,
That's awesome though. Yeah, I'll
yeah.
have to get into those at some point. I've got a kind of a big backlog right now. I'm like 7 behind for the year if I'm going to finish at the pace I want to on Goodreads. But I was doing a lot of podcasts for a bit too. I was listening to a ton of Small Town Murder, just trying to catch up. And then the Murdaugh Mysteries. I've got one of those that I haven't listened to, the one from this past week. And then we'll have another one tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah, I've still got that, and then catching up with Drama Queens. And yeah, I would do like a podcast phase for like a week and a half, but that's all I did. And then I got behind on books and kind of got out of the habit of listening. So trying to get back into that now. So what you got on your nails?
I have Dallas Darling.
Woo!
They're kind of like, it's not showing up too well, but yeah, they're been on now for almost a week, so it's time to change them. So I'm not sure what I'll do next, but yeah. What did I have last week? Last week I had Bad Blood, so I had a red, so I figured I'd bounce around. I started to not do a dark again, but I just don't know who I am when I don't have a dark on my hands.
I know, I'm freaking out right now because mine are so pale. It's like, ooh, I don't know what's
this is wrong.
So mine is actually one of the new spring sets. This is the Silver Glitter French called We're Meant to We. OUI. We. So these are my nails. I did go get polygel on them because they're peeling from anesthesia from having 2 knee replacements last year. And so in order to get them to stop, I need to keep them covered so that they have space to grow without that continuing to work its way up toward the cuticle. So anyway, Color Street works over gel. So you can tell with this. These have been on for 6 days. So I probably will change these tonight. I think probably tonight. But yeah, our new spring catalog's out. There are 28 new shades, and there are some really awesome ones. And for the first time ever, we have mani and pedi coordinating sets. So that's super fun. Love that. Yeah, there's some really good ones in the spring catalog that I'm excited about wearing. So definitely go check that out if you haven't seen them yet. They dropped last week and they're all in stock, and they will be until they're discontinued. So it's the nice thing about spring launch is it's not limited edition. Everything's guaranteed to be made until they're discontinued. So excellent. Where the wild things are, mine's going to be really long, so I'm going to let you talk about Grandma first.
So last time I mentioned that Grandma had to have a hip replacement, not been satisfied at all with a rehab facility, but hopefully it's going to be coming to an end here later this week. We've got the conference call this afternoon, but that was just because my mom insisted on having one, just a progress report. But yeah, we're hoping that she can come out. I mean, when I go in and I talk to OT and PT, there's no reason that she can't come home as far as they're concerned. And that was the reason why she was in there. It wasn't in there for, she wasn't in there for any kind of other medical reason. So we've got things all lined up for home health and hopefully in-home PT. So if and when she comes home, that's when my life will change. But our recording schedule won't change. I'll be off every Wednesday and every other weekend.
We'll make time. We'll do it when we can, and if we're a little behind, that's okay too.
Yeah. And I was talking to my sister. I've decided that we are going to get rid of her TV package and get the internet instead because well, I think I'll definitely appreciate it having Kent there with me because I think sometimes he's going to have to stay with me overnight, so he can bring his gaming system and play whatever. And then I know that you
have all those streaming services and you've got all of your passwords so you can watch what you want.
Because she doesn't have any sports channels. So
you'll lose your mind.
Yeah, I don't have
any. Know what it'll be is she'll burn through your data.
Yeah, well, we have unlimited data, but yeah.
Well, but if you go over a certain amount used in a month, they slow everybody down on your plan.
So right now I've been using my phone as a hotspot, and yes, you're right. So anyway, all that to say, she only uses the TV one half an hour every week, and that's
You
to
can
watch her
find a way to make that work.
well, it's just streamed from the National Cathedral. So I found their
You
website.
watches
I can
Mass?
stream it. Yes, she does. 10:30 every Sunday.
Bless her.
And
Well,
so
you can stream Mass on a laptop. That can work too.
that is exactly what I'm going to do. I found their website. I'm going to plug in an HDMI cord to the back of her TV, and there we're going to go.
There you go.
So, and I looking into it, it looks like it's going to be roughly the same price because I mean we don't need
I know
a router.
ours was like very similar. Like how much they charged for the TV versus the internet was pretty similar, especially once you added the streaming packages onto the internet part.
Yes.
All works. Yeah.
So anyway, we're working on that. But
Excellent.
yeah, I went over Saturday and steam cleaned her carpets, and I said it was a good thing. Like I had to do it when she wasn't there because it was 50 degrees outside, but I just got so hot. I'd moved all the furniture. I mean, I still haven't put the house back together. I've got furniture in every room of the house that it doesn't belong in.
Oh, my mercy.
I mean, I've got a coat tree in the kitchen and the magazine in the kitchen.
You do what you got to do, sister. I feel you.
So I've got to go back over there tomorrow, I think, and put everything back together. But I had all the windows open. I had every fan going, you know.
Well, considering how hot you're going to have to keep it once you might as well just wear booty shorts and a tank top. Like
what we were doing before was, especially since she was pretty well confined to a chair, was we broke out the electric blanket the electric throw that she never opened that my sister gave her for Christmas a couple of years ago because, you know, it just would have never occurred to her to use it. You know, she didn't sit still long enough to use an electric throw. So she was certainly enjoying that thing because I insisted on keeping the thermostat at 71 because that's reasonable.
Yeah.
Not 78. I can't breathe when it's 78. Thank you.
No way, bro.
So anyway, that's my life right now. And Brendan will be home for Easter, so that'll be nice.
Yeah.
He's going to come home for about 4 days and visit.
Excellent.
And he and Lizzie are going to have pictures taken while they're home, while he's home.
Good.
He's arranged that with a friend of his. So yeah, it'll be good.
That'd be great.
Springtime.
Well, I had my birthday, and we already showed you the hat that Tiffany made me. It was amazing. And she also got me a Bernie pin because she knows that those memes gave me life for like 2 months last year or 2 years ago, I guess. And then, well, no, it was last year. It was last year at the beginning of the year. Crazy. Everything's running together. And then she got me my girls pins. So exciting. And then I wanted to show you guys what my friend Alyssa gave me for my birthday because Alyssa, I don't think she watches us, but she's an amazing crafter. And I don't often get crafter presents. Like Tiffany's usually it. So getting something from somebody else was really cool too. So the first thing is she spun me this absolutely beautiful yarn. Awesome. It is Polwarth and Corriedale, 185 yards.
Nice.
Yeah, it's real squish too. It's like real springy. And then she made me a mini quilt.
Ooh.
And this is entirely hand pieced, even the front. It's hand pieced and hand quilted. And then embroidered. She's pretty awesome. She's extremely talented. So
yes.
Here you can see the quilting on the back where she hand quilted it.
Nice.
Beautiful. So yeah, that was my birthday. And of course, you guys saw my ring that I got from my husband. And then he from my daughter, I got a gift card to Starbucks. And then my mom, I think I got money. I got money from my mom and money from my in-laws. That's pretty much it. Like you and Alyssa got me stuff and everybody else gave me money. But hey, it always fits. Can't wait to try it on.
That's right.
So anyway, my birthday was good. I got to finally do the thing I've always wanted to do and go around and use a whole bunch of coupons. So that was fun. And I've actually had a really good time this year. I actually wrote them all down and I've been checking them off and I still have 3 left. And we don't have but like 3 days left in the month counting today. So I better get that. Probably better speed that up. But yeah, we had a dinner as a family and it was really fun. Um, so right after my birthday, um, my 93-year-old grandfather went into the hospital. He's had congestive heart failure for a couple of years, but it really didn't start slowing him down until about 18 months ago. It started slowing him down. He still played golf 3 or 4 days a week and went to church and did all of his own housework and all that stuff. But once he started going downhill, it kind of got faster and faster, and function started he started not being as functional and had to have more help. And he didn't drive anymore, and he couldn't golf anymore, and he couldn't go fishing anymore. And, Chris and I, for a while last year, we were going up at least once a month. Some months we went up twice, and we cleaned his house, and I cooked like 4 meals while I was there. Like I would have 3 meals going at one time. And put it all up for him so he would have food in portioned containers that he could heat up without having to worry about cooking anything himself or trying to go out and get something. um I cleaned his shower so good that I ruined it. Okay, in my defense, they redid the bathroom like 25 years ago, and the pan over a long time in the bottom of the shower had cracked. And there was so much soap scum from where he couldn't clean it that it had sealed the cracks. So the shower wasn't leaking. Well, I cleaned all the soap scum off, and then the shower started leaking. So he eventually had to have his shower replaced because of this, because I ruined his shower. I'm such a good cleaner. I cleaned all the crap out. We did like make it flex seal on it and stop it from leaking in the meantime so he could still use it. But yeah, it was like he had to have my cousin, who's a contractor, come replace his shower because I overcleaned his shower. But so the last time we saw him was last July, because in August I had my first knee replacement, and I've not been able to go up there since. So he's been fairly healthy until he just really wasn't. And then a couple of days after my birthday, actually over my birthday, he was in the hospital. He had a lot of fluid, and he just couldn't get it off on his own with medication even. So they had to admit him and help him with the fluid retention problem that he was having, which was impairing his movement. He couldn't walk around easily because his legs were so swollen and his feet. Well, right after my birthday, he came home, but he was only home for like 3 days. And then my cousin went to visit him and found him laying in the floor. And we still aren't sure how long he had been there, or if he had hit his head when he fell. Never really determined that, but pretty much long and short of it is, a few hours after that, he became incoherent and basically slipped into a coma. They admitted him back to the ICU, and basically his blood pressure, the first I heard an actual number was after he had been there for about 6 hours, and no, it was a day. He'd been there a day. His blood pressure was down to 58/28. So barely moving. His heart just gave out. And, he just, it was a painful process knowing that he was dying, and knowing that due to family issues, I wasn't going to be able to visit him. Long story short, and I'm not sharing it here. So we ever meet in person, have a drink, I'll tell you, but not here. But he ended up passing on the morning of the 16th. And this was my last remaining grandparent. And he was the one I was the closest to, and the one that I always loved the most. And I just feel like I've lost my beacon. And it's been a very, very difficult thing dealing with my child. And because she was extremely close to him and had been begging to go see him, but I just wasn't physically able. But he died on the morning of the 16th. And for some reason, I still don't understand, my dad had his service on the 17th. So we had to rush and throw everything together to be able to leave and arrange for childcare for Madeline, because we did not take her with us for various reasons. And it was an up and back, and I've paid for it since with my knee. I wasn't ready to be in the car. I was right in my assessment that I wasn't ready, because by the time we got home, and I didn't do an excessive amount of walking while we were up there, but by the time we got home, my ankle and my thigh were the same size around, and I thought we were going to have to cut my pants off with scissors. Like it was bad. So I did get a chance to say goodbye to him. but it just, I haven't even really had time to process it because last week I was so busy trying to get ready for that vendor event that didn't end up working out. And I haven't really had time to deal with that. And then I had gotten a fish for my birthday. I was super excited about getting a beta. And long story short, with that, he died 2 days ago because the food that Petco sold me that was made by Aqueon, beta pellets, does not have correct feeding directions on the back of the bottle. And I overfed my fish and he ended up with perforated bowel and it killed him. And I feel guilty as hell because I feel like I should have known, but I was just going by what the packaging said. And I've had betas before, but I never fed them pellets. So I had no idea. After getting him, I ended up finding out there was a local small business owner-owned store really close to my house that's all tropical fish. So I started dealing with him instead, but I didn't realize the food I had wasn't any good. So I did post about this on Instagram if you want to see the packaging of what I was using versus what I know to use now. Then you can go check out my Instagram or my Facebook page because I posted it both places and it's on my personal account. But yeah, so I know that a lot of my emotional problems I'm having right now are all stemming from Papa and not having had time to grieve him yet. But what happened to my fish was horrific. And like, I'm on a quest now to make sure that people know not to use that food. Or if you do use that food, not to use as much of it as they tell you to use on the back because you will kill your fish. So anyway, it's just been a very, very difficult month. It's not been a good month at all. Just a lot of stuff going on, a lot of things up in the air, a lot of loss, and just flat out not feeling good. Like it's been a rough spring. Like we've had some really cold weather, wet weather, and my knees are still very fresh and they do not like it. So.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. We made it through the pandemic and everything, but I swear I feel like the last year has just been rough
Terrible.
overall. Yes.
I don't think I've ever had so much stuff happen in a single month as this month. Like it seems like that keeps happening over and over and it keeps piling on. And
it's compounded.
Yeah. But this is why I'm not crafting because I am absolutely in the dumps and I don't want to do anything. I don't have any desire to do anything. If I'm not actively having to work in order to make money, I'm sleeping right now. And I'll be honest about that. I'm not well, and I'm trying to take the time this week to process things and talk about things. And it took a while for me to be able to really even talk to my husband about how I've been feeling and all that. Of course I have now, but it took a while. And then I'm also having to support my child at the same time because I'm the more emotionally available parent because my husband's just not a very emotional person. And so I'm the one she comes to when she needs to deal with feelings. So I have her feelings compounding on top of my feelings, and I'm just completely overwhelmed right now. And when I feel overwhelmed like that, it always takes all of my crafting mojo with it. So it might be a little light on content for the next couple of times until I've, worked my way through some of this.
Yeah. And that's a good, nice thing about, crafting is that it's non-perishable. So
yeah, it'll come back. I mean, I never worry about it coming back because it's too much part of who I am, but it is not my priority when my mind is as fragmented in dealing with things right now. It's not a priority. And honestly, this is the type of mindset, but when I do craft, I make mistakes. So I have to be careful what I'm working on. And that's part of why I've not touched that shawl since all this happened, because I know that having patterning every row on a pattern is just way more than my brain can handle right now.
Yes. Yeah. Understandable.
Well, Madeline, good things about her. She earned her first stripe on her white belt in Taekwondo about a week ago now. And she's working on her second stripe. She may be ready for her second stripe by the end of this week or beginning of next week. She's doing very well. She's loving it. She actually has class today, so that's going to be exciting. I love watching her, and I took Chris with me last week, so he got to be there when she got her stripe. And He leaned over in the middle of this. He said, "This is way more fun to watch than soccer was." I said, "I know." Even though soccer was fun because they were little and they would do goofy stuff, but like with this is way more fun.
Maybe he could start taking lessons too, and it would be something they had in common.
I would love that. I think he would. He's flexible enough. I think he could do it, but it would be really funny because she'd outrank him.
Right. She could coach him.
Good. She's doing really well, and she's finally like gotten it in her head that she needs to be watching the instructor and not the kids because she really wants to watch the kids. So she now is like watching the instructor, and he is fantastic. He is so much fun. He's a couple of years younger than I am, and he's from Colombia. He's a real fun accent, but he's just an all around just fun person. Like he's just got a great personality. So I really like him, and Chris really likes him too. And my in-laws took her to Taekwondo so that she wouldn't miss while we were gone to the funeral for my grandfather. So she's having a blast with it, and I love seeing her love something so much. And it really does teach good self-discipline. So I think it's going to be good for her in the whole. But yeah, that's pretty much all that's going on with her right now. Everything I can talk about at least. So yeah. So hear ye, these are our announcements. Check out Tiffany's party link for Color Streak nail polish strips. If you want to order and you order through her, then she will get credit towards free sets, which is always nice and fun. And yeah, so.
And some of you have, so
yes, some of you have. Y'all are awesome. We appreciate you. She's always going to have one available. So if you go to my site and the old link says this link is closed, choose another party. If you click that, she will always have one that says Tiffany's affiliate link. I name it the same every single month. So it's always one up there, even if you're watching an old episode. I also have a Facebook VIP group where I offer deals I'm not allowed to offer publicly. I can offer them in a closed group. So check us out over there. We have a lot of fun, and I give away a lot of stuff in there. And then also I have free samples available. If you've not tried dry nail polish, you are missing out because it is awesome. It's super fun. But I would love to send you one. So let me know. I can send them to the US and Canada. So we are no longer participating in the Amazon Associates program. So I talked about it last time. I'm not going to go into that again. But if you'd like to support our podcast, we do have a PayPal link on the show notes blog, and that will go directly towards paying for prizes. So, and for hosting, because we do have to pay for our hosting for our blog. So if you want to throw us a couple of bucks there, that's awesome. Don't feel obligated. But I know that some people just like to help out a little bit like that as a thank you for our content. So we will be very appreciative. And thank you to the person who did donate between last episode and this episode. That was awesome of you. We appreciate it. Our knit along's going strong for the year. We're having a good time with this, and we think you guys are liking the theme of like switching it up every 2 months. So yay! You still have time to make a hat between now and the end of April.
Yeah,
so you still have time to get one in for that 2-month period there. It's just a single hat. So thank you. Can get it done.
And it's got to be majority green if you want an extra entry. So
yeah, you can make any color you want, but if you want it to count for double entries, then green yarn it is. Yay, spring. All right. So you've drawn the winner for the first 2-month period.
I'm going to do this live. I've got
so fun.
A wheel here.
I love a wheel.
And so let's just see who we had. 2, 4, 6, 7 people. Yes. Yeah. Besides Dana, because Dana had entered her night shift. So
let's
see here.
I know
are.
Yes.
So the prize
is the only place you're going to see your name written down.
Right. And she actually had 6 entries in our shawl. Well, it was 12 because it was double, so each one of them was 2 colors. So
the reason we don't tag is because we want to make sure that the people that win are the people that are watching us. So don't tag them, don't congratulate them. If you see that out there, don't do that. So well, hopefully she'll get back with us, and we'll see. You have until the end of April till our next episode drops. So
all right. Well, and congratulations. And a pattern of your choice up to $7 value, or a
Or two,
combination
if you
of-
can add two together and get $7, you can have it.
So reach out to one of us,
Yeah.
via Ravelry.
Either one.
Yep. So, and thanks to everyone for participating. And like we said, cast on a hat and, join us for the next time.
And I will have a green hat next time.
Yeah.
Yay me!
Yeah. Well, and green's not really a color that I would naturally navigate towards, but I really like this combination. And so I definitely see that, the one I made going into the regular rotation.
This will be Madeline's. I can already say because it's got teal and it's got green. So this is like the
right up
ultimate for her. Oh yeah. That'll be fun. And that'll give me something to put back in the Christmas box, which that's really what we're trying to help you guys with too, is like, we're trying to give you an opportunity to like work ahead. If you are the type of person who likes to give handmade gifts out, it's a good opportunity to bang out some hats, get some entries for a prize from us, and also knock out some of your Christmas list. Cause hey, you can never start too early. It sneaks up, doesn't it?
It really does. Here we are, get ready to enter the second quarter of the year already. Crazy.
For some reason, between Christmas and my birthday drags. And then the rest of the year is at like hyperspeed until it's Christmas again. And then it's like, on this side of my birthday, it always feels like half the year is over. And I don't know why it's always been like that, but yeah, totally is. I think I have a cat in here. I keep hearing rustling behind me.
Oh, right. Sneaky,
I had to leave the door cracked because he was out there and he was.
Well, mine are well occupied and sleeping.
I have not heard yours at all. I'm amazed.
I've got the heat on in there and they're knocked out. The magical heater.
Binged them across the head with the heat. Gotta love it. All right. Well, I will talk to you later. I know you've got a meeting right now.
Yeah,
so.
I've got to get wrapped up and get on the road to go get Kent as well, and then figure out dinner and all that jazz. So life,
all the things. We got taekwondo this afternoon, so I think like we have an hour gap between school and that, so we'll come home long enough for a snack and to change clothes and let her go back out. So the life of a sports mom. All right, guys, well, thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed the episode, and we look forward to hearing from you on Ravelry or here on YouTube in the comments.
Yep. See you next time. Bye, y'all.
Bye.